This original WSRE presentation is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.
A special primary election for Florida's House District 2 takes place next week. Stand by to meet the candidates. Good evening and welcome to a special election edition of Rally. I'm Drexel Gilbert with WSRE TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast. Tonight's broadcast will allow you the opportunity to meet the 6 Republican candidates in the race for Florida House seat District 2. There's no Democratic primary as there is only one candidate for this seat from the Democratic Party. This election was scheduled following the death of Representative Clay Ford, who represented District 2 from the time of his election in 2007 until his death March 18th of this year. Ford died at the age of 74 following a battle with cancer. District 2 includes Gulf Breeze and Pensacola. The primary election in this race will be held next week on Tuesday, May 14th. The winner of that primary election will meet the Democratic candidate Jeremy Lau in the general election, which will be held on June 11th. The questions for the candidates have been provided to us this evening by the League of Women Voters of the Pensacola Bay Area. The candidates have not seen the questions. They will have 45 seconds to respond to each question. Following the question and answer session, each candidate will have an additional 45 seconds to deliver a closing statement. It's time now to welcome our candidates to the program. They are seated in alphabetical order. The first candidate to be introduced to you this evening is Ed Gray III, and Mr. Gray is from Gulf Breeze. Seated next to Mr. Gray is Mike Hill. Mr. Hill is from Pensacola. Next to Mr. Hill is candidate Scott Miller. Mr. Miller resides in Gulf Breeze. Seated next to Mr. Miller is candidate Jack Nobles. Mr. Nobles is from Pensacola. Moving to the next candidate, David Radcliffe. Mr. Radcliffe is from Gulf Breeze. And next to Mr. Radcliffe is Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor resides in Pensacola. And it's time now to begin the questions, and we, as they are seated in alphabetical order, we will begin the questions in alphabetical order, and we will work our way from there. And so, Mr. Gray, that means that you will receive the first question first. And the first question this evening is, please give us your views of the legislature's refusal to accept the funding of more than $50 billion in federal money to expand the Medicaid program in Florida to an additional 1 million people. Would you support a special legislative session to address Medicaid funding later this year?
The position of the legislature this year to refuse the funding had to do with the uncertainty of the federal funding. There's been promises made that we will be funded up to 95% of the cost for the next 3 to 5 years. But we all know from the discussions in Washington, the budget problems at a federal level, and all that goes with the fiscal crisis of the country, we can't depend upon that money. So it's up to the legislature to make sure we don't start something that we have to pay for later with taxpayers of Florida's dollars.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gray. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Hill. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
All right, the question is, please give us your views on the legislature's refusal to accept the funding of more than $50 billion to expand the Medicaid program in Florida to an additional 1 million people. And will you support a special legislative session to address Medicaid funding sometime later this year?
I agree with the legislature's decision to refuse that money simply because in Florida we can't afford it. Right now, Medicaid is about 25% of our budget. If we were to accept that expansion of over 1 million people onto the rolls, and then should the federal government no longer pay for that after 3 years, which is the intention now, and we would have to pick up that tab, it then becomes 37% of our budget. That is unsustainable. So I agree with the legislature's decision to not accept that Medicaid expansion. I would defer to the leadership as to whether or not they want to call a special election. Of course, I would like to participate if that is happening.
All right, thank you very much. And now the question goes to you, Mr. Miller, and would you like for me to repeat the question?
No.
Okay.
I know the question is, no, I wouldn't support, well, I do support the legislature's position to not support the Obamacare funding. The intent of this funding is to simply get our citizens used to having this available to them, at which time it'll eventually run out, where we'll have to be on the hook for this money and forced to increase taxes in Florida to a substantial amount, and that's just not something I can get behind.
All right, thank you very much. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Nobles. Would you like for me to repeat the question?
No, I understand the question perfectly well. Thank you. And I also agree with the legislature's decision. It is a major, $50 billion is a lot of money to be laid out in front of you. But as the previous speakers have said, it would be Florida citizens would be unable to be able to afford this if it went on and we didn't get the money from the federal government. The federal government has promised it for 3 years, but as we all know, depending on who's up in Washington, we may not receive those funds. And our budget this year, I think, was $74 billion, and we just couldn't afford it if we had to pay it out of our own pockets and Florida citizens.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nobles. And the question now is going to you, Mr. Radcliffe. Would you like for me to repeat the question for you, sir?
No, thank you, I'm fine. I support that the money was turned down. It becomes unaffordable after about the 3 years. If the federal government backs out with their support, no way can we afford it and everything. I also am very afraid about what's going to happen to regular independent individual insurance and insurance provided by companies. I'm just terrified of what's going to happen to the cost of it after the first of the year.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radcliffe. And now question number 1 goes to you, Mr. Taylor. Would you like for me to repeat the question, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, I agree with the other candidates up here, and I would have backed the House decision in that. I don't disagree that health care is broken, and we need to do something with that, but mandates coming from a federal government isn't the way to do that. The more local the government, the better, whether that's locally here in our county or in Tallahassee in our state. We need to make our decisions here, not be told what to do. Hopefully some great reform will come of the medical, but definitely I would agree with the House to not accept that.
All right, thank you. And that completes round 1 of our questions this evening. Again, a reminder that our questions were provided to us this evening by the League of Women Voters of the Pensacola Bay Area. And now we move on to question number 2, and this time we will start with Mr. Hill. The question is, what investments in infrastructure projects should Florida make in order to attract job-creating industries?
We have an excellent opportunity here in the Panhandle with the Airbus manufacturing taking place in Mobile. We should be able to attract a number of the subcontractors into this area because we have the workforce, a ready workforce in place because of our military and because of our excellent school system. We have the natural resources in place and the natural beauty in place already. We just need to attract those businesses, make them aware of what is available here in the beautiful Panhandle, and we will be able to attract those jobs, which will mean a great expansion in our economy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hill. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Miller. What investments in infrastructure projects do you believe Florida should make in order to attract job-creating industry?
Well, I think that in Pensacola in particular, an investment in our port would probably be the best investment. We have infrastructure and easements in place right now from when the port was the beating heart of our economy here to bring that port in, bring into the $1 trillion container market that passes by us every day in the Gulf of Mexico. We can, all we need is the political will to make it happen.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Nobles, the question now goes to you. Would you like for me to repeat the question, sir?
No, thank you.
All right.
We have all the pieces in place in Northwest Florida to make this a very attractive place for industry and business. We have an international airport right now that is the largest airport between Jacksonville, New Orleans, Birmingham, and Orlando. We have I-10 spur that comes right down to in the heart of the city. We have rail that comes right down in the heart of the city. I think we've got all the pieces in place. We just need to go out and promote those things and make sure that industry and business knows we have those.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nobles. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Radcliffe. And I will ask this in case viewers are just joining us and remind them of the question. What investments in infrastructure projects do you believe Florida should make in order to attract job-creating industries?
I would like to see the state and the counties continue to invest into the industrial parks into the area. Also an investment into the educational programs that are used to develop the training. I agree that the Airbus industry coming to the area is going to provide tremendous opportunities. Give them the land, give them the trained employees to work in that industry. Let go out and do our best to attract those guys and increase the jobs in the area.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radcliffe. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Taylor. Would you like for me to repeat it for you? No, ma'am. All right.
I agree that the infrastructure is great here in Northwest Florida. We're very blessed with one of the only deep water ports, got a great airport, got great I-10. There are some things we can do. There's a big, Governor Scott's been pushing real hard to increase all the ports statewide to really get into that trade market heavier. And I would love to see that come to fruition. The Airbus is just a monstrous win for our community. We've got to go aggressively after those people that are going to be supplying Airbus to make sure they end up here in our area and that creates jobs for our folks. The Beulah Interchange is one that's been mentioned with Restore Act funds. There's a lot of land out there. Obviously, that's closest to Mobile, closest to the industry that's going to be happening. Would love to see some boom out there happening, but it's going to be a Northwest Florida win across the way.
All right, thank you, Mr. Taylor. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Gray, and I will ask it in case viewers again are just joining us. What investments in infrastructure projects should Florida make in order to attract job-creating industries?
When an industrial prospect looks at our area, there are two key factors they're looking for. One, a site that's certified, ready to begin construction, begin the planning. Secondly, workforce training. We need to give the flexibility to our school district, to our Pensacola State College, to the University of West Florida, to provide the workforce training as necessary and as required by incoming businesses and industrial prospects. Those key factors are the most important things on the list of what industrial prospects are looking for in an area. So the site certification and workforce training would be the priorities.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. And that concludes the answers for question number 2. And we are going to take a very short break. And as we do, we're going to take a look at the information for early voting in the primary election. When we return, another question for the candidates, and also we will have their closing statements. You're watching a special election edition of Rally on WSRE TV, PBS for the Gulf Coast. And welcome back to this special election edition of Rally as we are meeting the candidates for the special primary election for Florida's House District 2. This seat became vacant in March following the death of Representative Clay Ford. The next question we are going to pose to the 6 Republican candidates who are in the primary election is coming up. We are moving down the line alphabetically as we remind you this evening as we are posing the questions that are provided to Rally by the League of Women Voters of the Pensacola Bay Area. And so, Mr. Miller, that means that I will begin with you on question number 3. And that question is, what is your position on drilling for oil and gas on public lands such as the Blackwater River State Forest? And again, the question goes to you first, Mr. Miller, and you have 45 seconds for your answer.
Well, I believe as long as proper precautions are taken, that it's entirely proper to drill on public lands, as long as the public, the state of Florida gets adequately compensated for it. There was a lot of exploratory work. I grew up in Blackwater Forest, and there was a lot of exploratory work being done when I was growing up. It didn't destroy the forest. As long as good, adequate care is taken, I'm perfectly behind it. I think it's a great idea.
All right, thank you. And the question goes to you now, Mr. Nobles. Would you like for me to repeat it, sir?
No, thank you. I have to agree with Mr. Miller. I think that with the constraints that we have on energy in this country right now, we need to look at all of our possibilities. I think that the mistake that was made by BP in the Gulf was something that we need to learn from and that we need to take precautions of. I think that the drilling in the Blackwater River forest over there and the public lands is something that would benefit the public. So as long as the precautions are made and environmentally safe practices are done, I'm in favor of it.
All right, thank you very much. And now the question goes to you, Mr. Radcliffe. Would you like for me to repeat it, sir?
No, I'm fine. Drilling is already happening in north Escambia County right now and everything. It hadn't been 2 months ago. I was up there and saw a drilling platform. It was being run clean. There's no reason in the world we shouldn't be able to go over and drill on the Blackwater forest.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Taylor. And would you like for me to repeat it, sir?
No, ma'am. I agree that we definitely have to end our dependency on foreign oil. I think we all agree with that. I'm a little bit hesitant on this. People I've talked about that are particularly affected there in North Santa Rosa County aren't totally on board. I have a 2-year-old. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm an outdoor guy. We love going to Bear Lake and Cruel Lake and camping and enjoying that time together. And I just don't know if I could get behind it at this point. I want to make sure that we preserve our forest and that my 2-year-old has the same enjoyment growing up as I did.
All right, thank you. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Gray. Would you like for me to repeat it, sir?
No, that's okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
It goes without saying, in today's world, with all of the oil spill problems of the past, there are precautions made and safeguards put in place wherever drilling takes place, whether it's public lands, oil leases that have been given, no matter where it is. And I believe those precautions could be put in place, and we properly put the controls in place to where anything we can do to lower our dependence on foreign oil is something we must look at. The biggest economic detriment today is all of us going to the pump paying $3.50 or more per gallon. We've got to address that. We've got to lower that cost. We've got to come up with ways to be less energy dependent on foreign countries that really do not mean well by us at all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gray. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Hill. And would you like for me to repeat it, sir?
No, ma'am. It's a natural resource for us that we need to use and we need to develop. There are plenty of regulations in place now by the EPA, the Department of Environmental Protection, that will make sure that it will be safe, it will be done cleanly, it will be done effectively. But it's a resource that we must use because our economy needs it here. We could use the jobs, we could use the influx of cash into our economy. So I'm completely for it. I think it can be done safely, cleanly, and inexpensively, and be a big boom to our area.
All right, thank you. And our final question for the evening is coming up. And question number 4, we will begin with you, Mr. Nobles. What in your background qualifies you for this position, sir?
Well, I was born and raised in District 2. I've lived here my entire life. I was a city councilman here for 14 years and I worked in banking for 35. I know what goes on in this community. I know what the people need. I have gone door to door knocking on doors and I've listened to the constituents, and I believe that that is the most important thing you can do, is to hear what they have to say. This is my home and I would love to serve the people of District 2 in the House.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nobles. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Radcliffe. What in your background qualifies you for this position?
Being born and raised in the area, I've also been an insurance agent in Gulf Breeze area and for the last 28 years. I have written lots of property out on Pensacola Beach, the businesses, the condos, the hotels. I have been very in tune with development upon Highway 98. I think that gives me the experience to know what small business people are needing in the area, what kind of rules and regulations stop them from growing, from being able to add the building, the construction, and the jobs that go along with it, and ultimately the jobs that go into the buildings and everything after they develop them. So I think I have a real good feel for what's going on in the area.
All right, thank you, Mr. Radcliffe. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Taylor, and you have 45 seconds to tell us what in your background qualifies you for this position.
Yes, thank you. Well, obviously, I'm the youngest candidate here, so I don't have quite as much background, but I do feel like I've lived a great life. I'm a 6th-generation Pensacola guy, very successful small business owner. I've traveled the world to over 30 countries, helping put out disasters as a volunteer, humanitarian relief to different countries. I'm a construction guy. I'm a common sense guy. I can look at something and say, you know what, this works or it doesn't. We've had over 30 employees in the boom. We only have 10 now. But have led thousands of volunteers in the faith-based community to re-roof 105 roofs here locally, build 40 wheelchair ramps, have a lot of leadership experience. And people like vision and they like dreaming, and folks will get behind that. And I think that's something that I can bring to the table. I'm a win-win kind of guy. I don't want to win and you lose. Let's figure out what works good for the state in Northwest Florida. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Taylor. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Gray, and you have 45 seconds to tell us what in your background qualifies you for this position.
I've had the pleasure of living in this area for over 50 years. I've enjoyed a career as a community banker, loaning money to businesses and understanding what their needs are. I've served in office, and despite being called a career politician, that career politician paid me $1 a year for 12 years in office. We probably need more of that type of person running for office. I also had the pleasure of serving on the Santa Rosa County School Board when Governor Jeb Bush appointed me to a vacancy there. I understand the governmental side, I understand the private sector side, I understand education and the needs that we have in our two county school districts to do what's best to make sure our students are prepared for the future. All of this background, as well as the current job that I have, which is managing some municipal finance agencies and understanding how to raise capital, are reasons why I think I could do a good job for the citizens of District 2.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gray. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Hill, in 45 seconds. Tell us, please, sir, what is in your background that qualifies you for this position?
I had the distinct honor of graduating from the Air Force Academy in 1980, and I spent 10 years active duty Air Force before separating to become a State Farm insurance agent, and I've been with State Farm now for 23 years. The military is vital to our panhandle. We have the Pensacola NAS, Whiting Field NAS, Duke Field, Hurlburt Air Force Base, Eglin Air Force Base, Tyndall. I understand the needs of the missions that are there and how it must be protected. I'm also a conservative businessman. I am not a career politician. I believe in those concepts of limited government, low taxes, personal freedom, and individual responsibility.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hill. And the question now goes to you, Mr. Miller. And would you, in 45 seconds, please tell us, sir, what in your background qualifies you for this position?
Well, you know, for the last 10 years, I've been engaged in a lot of political issues for the area. I'm kind of an activist. For example, for the last 2 weeks, I've been engaged in fighting a Senate bill that would have turned the BP oil spill settlement for the state into a slush fund for Tallahassee to send money around the state and away from us. I've made almost 5,000 phone calls, sent 5,000 emails, and talked to media people to get them engaged and educate them in what was wrong with this bill. The House is still trying to pass it, but hopefully due to some technical issues, this thing's going to stay dead and buried. It's just in my DNA, and it's something that I do naturally, and I think I would do well.
All right, and that is going to do it for questions, and it is, wait, hold on just a moment. Out of the corner of my eye, I did notice that Mr. Taylor has raised his hand, which means that he would like to offer rebuttal, and you have 30 seconds, sir, to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate Mr. Miller, and I just want to, there's a lot of miscommunication that's going out, unfortunately, with the Restore funds. And the pot of money that he's referring to is $4 billion that the state attorney has sued for lost sales tax. It's not the money coming down federal that we read about in the paper every day and hear about in the news. It's a separate pot of money. So I understand what you're saying. It is good. We've got to keep that local control. But that money would have come through the state anyways, this lost sales tax. So just for the public and for the viewing, it should know that because there is a lot of misinformation out there about the Restore Act.
And Mr. Miller has raised his hand, which means that he has 30 seconds for rebuttal to Mr. Taylor's rebuttal.
Well, I know at the end of the bill's life they had taken the Restore Act language out, but there was definitely Restore Act language in there that would have allowed that money to be funneled through the entity that they were trying to use to control that. My other big issue with the bill was the fact that it took away all local control, and all of the control over where the money would be spent rested in a board of bureaucrats appointed by people in Tallahassee.
All right, and thank you, Mr. Miller, and that is going to do it for the questions. It is now, gentlemen, time for closing statements, and each of you will have 45 seconds for that statement. Again, as we are moving along in alphabetical order, Mr. Nobles, you began the last round of questions, so we are going to move alphabetically to Mr. Radcliffe to begin the closing statements, and you have 45 seconds, sir.
Thank you, and thank you, WSRE, for having us on tonight, and the League of Women Voters. I would like to take my experience as a small business person, somebody who's been involved in trying to develop property, trying to develop Highway 98, take my experience of what works, what doesn't work, go to Tallahassee, try to change things where we can actively get some jobs in this area, make the county grow and everything so that our kids can work in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Now your closing statement, sir.
Yes, please vote Mark Taylor. I'm the last one on the ballot, Taylor, Taylor, and I'm really excited about this area. I love Northwest Florida. I'm a servant's heart. That's all I've ever done is serve people. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for you, and I'm doing this for my 2-year-old son. I want to leave a Northwest Florida that's better for our children, for our grandchildren. I'm just excited about this area. I love our natural resources. We have a great people, a great group. And I know we can work hard for you in Tallahassee and make this truly a better place. I'm an Eagle Scout. I've been to over 30 countries around the world, have a lot of experience. I did very well in small business, still run a local small business, and I truly believe that my skill sets have set up for a time like this where I can serve you and not special interests. Thank you.
Thank you. And time now for you, Mr. Gray, to give us your closing statement.
You know, District 2 is a really wide area encompassing a lot of real estate, a lot of geography in this part of the state. I would be ever so privileged and proud to be representing all of you in District 2, that district that goes from Gulf Breeze all the way up to the northeast part of Pensacola, all the way to Innerary Island and Perdido Key. There's a lot of common interest there, and the primary one is we want good leadership. We want people that can do a good job representing you in Tallahassee, not embarrass you, work with the legislative leadership and bring things to Northwest Florida that we deserve and that we can make good use of to further the prosperity of this area and be a meaningful part of Florida that we are and we need to accentuate. Thank you for your participation next Tuesday.
Mr. Hill, time now for your closing statement, sir.
The landscape in Pensacola and Northwest Florida is changing, and it's changing for the better. I want to be a part of that change. We cannot stick with the same old politics, the same old stuff that has been there forever. We're tired of career politicians. Instead, what we want is someone who's going to go to Tallahassee and provide us with good public policy, which provide us with good government. Good government consists of, first of all, is it constitutional? Secondly, is it fiscally responsible? Third, what problems will it fix, both short-term and long-term? Long-term meaning 5 years and out, which requires some critical thinking and analysis. And finally, is it morally sound? And for me, that's the Bible. Is it morally sound is the foundation of all I would make my decisions on. I ask for your vote, May 14th.
And now to you, Mr. Miller, for your closing statement.
You know, I want to thank all the people who made calls to Tallahassee to help us put a stop to the Senate Bill 1024. I'm an activist. I've worked on Second Amendment issues. I've worked on this BP Restore Act. I worked on BP for a long time before it became the Restore Act. I want to carry that work, continue to carry that work on to the legislature. I have a lot of issues on my website. If you'll come to Scott Miller, www.scottmiller2013.com, I want to have an opportunity to elaborate on all of the issues in detail instead of just here making bullet point answers to very complicated questions.
And Mr. Nobles, your closing statement, sir.
Thank you very much. I am a lifelong 7th generation Pensacolian. I've lived in this area my entire life. I was educated in this area. And to me, I am thrilled to have the opportunity to live in such a beautiful place. I'm retired now. I have the opportunity to spend full time doing this job. I've got the experience in politics, and I've also got experience in finance that I feel like that could benefit and bring jobs and industry to the Northwest Florida. I think it's time that we concentrate on bringing our children home and having jobs for them, and that's what my job would be in Tallahassee. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nobles. And that does it for this special election edition of Rally. We will be back on May 21st with another edition of Rally as we preview the general election. We hope that you have a great evening, that you've learned something and allowed us to be part of your voting experience.